So about a year ago, I'm playing in this golf tournament, and I start off pretty good. About mid-round, things start coming unhinged, and before I know it, I've played like one of the worst rounds of my life. So I know that my family's coming to pick me up, my wife, my 3 kids, and sure enough, I'm out there holding my golf bag. They pick me up, I throw the sticks in the back, sit in the Toyota, and my little 7-year-old daughter goes, "Dad, how'd you do?" And I promise you, I'm being honest, I start punching the dashboard. I start punching the steering wheel, right? So the family goes dead silent. My 3 kids, my 2 boys and my little girl. My wife's looking at me like I'm an alien from another planet. And I'm kind of stunned at myself. And I look around at the kids and they're just quiet. So we quietly drive to lunch. We sit down, and on our way over, I think, to lunch, one of the kids, I think my 9-year-old son, said something like, "I guess not so good, huh, Dad?" I don't say anything. We sit down for lunch, and I'm just like, the waiter comes, we order, and I'm sitting there, and I finally go, "You know what, kids? Dad is so sorry. Will you forgive me? Like, that's embarrassing. That's ridiculous." And my wife's like looking at me, "Yeah, yes, it is embarrassing, and it is ridiculous, and you're out of control." But I was just embarrassed, to be honest. Embarrassed, surprised, like, Judah, get it together. It's a golf match, right? It's a golf game. And yet in front of my 3 small children, I am pulverizing my dashboard and punching my steering wheel. Like, I'm a 37-year-old grown man, been married for 16 years. I should probably have it together more. Have you ever been surprised by your soul? Have you ever been shocked by the stuff that surfaces in your emotions and your reaction, and in some cases with not that big of a deal? Obviously I have, and I'm sure you have too. We all have. And for me, it takes me to this amazing passage of scripture in the Bible. And whether you're familiar with Bible scripture is kind of irrelevant, but there's this book called the Book of Psalms. It's a collection of songs, literally written by artists. Predominantly a guy by the name of David, but some other artists as well. And Psalms 42 and 43 they're unique for me. For me, coming across this passage in times of my own emotional instability, I found incredible encouragement. In fact, you'll notice from Psalms 42 and 43, we've got about 16 verses or stanzas, so to speak. And actually, there's 8 different changes of emotion in Psalms 42 and 43. 8 different changes, where the songwriter and the singer goes from these incredible highs to these incredible lows. And about 3 different times, he asks this incredible question of himself. He says, "Why? Why? Why are you so cast down, O my soul? Why are you so troubled within me?" And first of all, that's pretty honest. I think when we're all struggling on the inside and struggling with emotions and that sort of thing, we ask questions, don't we? Like, why? Why did I freak out in the Toyota in front of my kids over a golf match? What is the problem? Why is my soul so disquieted within me? Maybe you find yourself right now, while you're watching this in real time, you're watching this and you are going through one of the most disruptive, painful, difficult, challenging seasons of your whole life. Maybe it's a loss of a loved one. Maybe it's a loss of a job. Maybe it's a loss of direction and a sense of purpose. And what am I here for? And why am I sucking oxygen on planet Earth? And frankly, you feel kind of in an upheaval. You feel disheveled. I think Psalms 42 and 43 speaks to that circumstance and speaks to that situation that you and I, at some point in our journey on earth, are going to find ourselves in. But first of all, I take incredible encouragement that God decided to put within His manuscript, within His divine book, that would help guide humanity and thoughts and philosophies and our existence on earth, that He thought it fit to put this real emotional, gritty song in the middle of His book to aid you and to aid me in this journey called life. Why are you so disquieted within me? And then the artist goes on and he writes and he actually starts talking to himself. You ever done that? I certainly have, and sometimes I talk to myself while other people are watching, and that makes it incredibly awkward. But the artist says, hope in God. Hope in God. I mean, who's he talking to? He's talking to himself. He's talking to his own emotions. He's talking to his own soul. He's saying, hey, hope in God. Of course, that brings us to a point that really there's only two choices in life, how you're going to view your existence on earth. One is that there is no God and essentially life is meaningless. Or the other is that there's a God and he actually is the grand architect of your existence and every day you spend on earth. That you actually matter, that you were designed with the hands of an infinite God who loves you and created you for plan and purpose. And that what you're going through right now, even though it has disrupted everything within you, has a purpose and a meaning, and that God has not left you and he's not forsaken you. And you know what's amazing about God is questioning him doesn't put him off. Questioning God doesn't make him mad. He really is God, and he's so real that even when we question him, like, God, where are you right now? What I'm going through and the pain I'm experiencing. By the way, the artist in our 16 verses does that several times. In fact, he asks 9 profound questions of himself, of God, of life, of his friends and his circumstances. And if you're asking questions right now, I think that's incredibly normal. And I want to encourage you, if you're feeling shaking at the deep core of your being and your soul, I think oftentimes that's normal. And the questions you're asking are not wrong and bad, but I want to challenge you. The only true stability that I have found in life is by believing that there is a God and that he has a plan for my life. The artist goes on in response to hope in God. And he says this to God. He says, you are my salvation and you are my God. You are my salvation and you are my God. First of all, the personal nature of those lyrics are beautiful to me. He's saying, look, God has become personal to me. God has become real to me. You know, maybe you've had church experience. Maybe you've been to some religious functions. Maybe you've had moments of reading religious literature. But you and I both know in this thing called life, when pain really happens in your life, what you don't need is just a book of morals, concepts, ideas, methodology, and philosophy. What you and I need is something real and authentic called relationship, a personal relationship. And I love the artist here in Psalms 42 and 43. He says, look, God is personal to me. You know, there's something about pain that either drives you closer to God or maybe has you question God. But I'm believing right now that whatever you're going through and the shaking, the challenging you're experiencing in your soul is going to, in fact, bring you closer to God. And you're going to find a personal relationship unlike you've ever discovered. I want to encourage you around one more thought just before we conclude this moment together. When the artist says, my salvation and my God, implicit within that Hebrew language is actually the idea of countenance. What the writer is actually saying, he's saying the stability that he is finding in such an unstable existence and challenging times is he's saying that, God, you're my salvation and you're my God. And that word salvation speaks of the countenance of God that was towards him. The artist is saying something so profound. He's saying, but God has his eye on me. God is interested in what I'm going through. God is actually looking at me right now. He's not distant. He's not far. He's not impervious to what I'm going through. He's not ignoring what I'm facing, but he's involved and he's there and he's near to me and I can go to him and I can talk to him. I realize that right now I might be saying this and you're going, man, I don't feel any of this. I don't feel like God's countenance is towards me. I don't feel like God is near to me. I feel like God's a million miles away. And you know what? Those feelings are real. And I feel those feelings. And I feel those unnerving moments where you're like, God, are you really there? And the truth is this. I'm going to be really honest with you. This morning, coming in just to shoot this video, I just text my wife. She's in a different city today. And I said, you know, babe, I don't know why, but I feel kind of down today. I feel kind of bummed. I feel like just not a real hope-filled kind of day. And my wife is way more spiritual than I am. So sure enough, she texts back. She's like, well, I'm praying for you right now. And she goes, I got the scripture for you. So she sends me the scripture. 1 John chapter 3 and verse 20. And it says this. I want to quote it to you right now because I think it's going to be an encouragement to you personally. It says, when your heart condemns you, God is greater than your heart. Why does my soul have hope? Because I do believe fundamentally that God is greater than my emotions. He's greater than my feelings. He's greater than my temporary time and space moment of confusion or pain or difficulty. He's greater than my feelings. He's greater than my soul. And he knows me better than I know myself. To be completely candid with you, my day improved as I read that scripture. And again, I made a decision to say, I believe that. I believe that about my soul. I believe that about my God. I believe that He is near to me and that He loves me. I want you for a moment just to kind of consider what we're talking about. And I am believing with all my heart. That's why we're doing these videos. That's why I'm here right now shooting this, because I'm believing moments like this can help maybe turn around today. Like maybe it's turned my day around. Or maybe, just maybe, it can change the trajectory of the rest of your life. There is a God, and He loves you so much, and His countenance is towards you. And for that reason, and that reason alone, you and I can have hope in the deepest part of our being.